how are we doing? Today I'm doing something fun. We're doing a reading vlog in which I'm reading 3 new March releases. I kind of want to do this more this year. I feel like last year I already put in more of an effort to do more kind of like new releases vlog, but I want to be better at reading new releases as they come out. So I'm gonna try and do this monthly. I'm not making promises, but I do have 3 March romance releases that I'm so excited about. So I'm very excited to talk to you about them and read them together with you in this vlog. The first one is The Starter Act by Mia Sosa. Now, I do have to say about this book that this did come out as an Audible exclusive, I believe in 2024, but it just got published like in words. That's all it's called. And considering I can do audiobooks because my brain doesn't pay attention to them, this is the first time I'm able to read this book, so therefore I count it as a new release. I also have Anderson and Bloom by Jennifer Dugan. Now I have to admit, I haven't had the best of luck with this author, but I want them to love him so much, and this is a adult romance about him. They also write YA, and I believe I've only read YA from this author before, so I'm hoping that maybe this will work better for me, especially because this book sounds right up my alley premise-wise. And lastly, we have Toe to Toe by Falon Ballard. Falon Ballard is one of my favorite romance writers, so I was very excited for this new release. It's very dance-centric as well, which I think will be fun. And yeah, it's another adult romance. All of them are. Sorry, maybe in the future I'll have a bit more variety for genres. But yeah, those 3 books I'm very excited to read. They're also coming all coming out in March, so hopefully you'll enjoy this vlog. Hi, so I got started on the Starter X and I'm a quarter of the way through, so I thought I'd give you a small update. But in this book we follow Vanessa, who's in college because she like wasn't into dating or anything. I wanted to get people of her back about dating as well. She started doing this scheme where when like different girls were interested in a guy who wasn't interested in them or like wasn't ready for a relationship, she would start dating this guy and just be like such a horrible girlfriend that they would like come running to the other girl, you know. And at the start of this book, she has been kind of like it's years later, she's very much thriving in her career, but she recently got transferred to New York, which is where her family's from, and she's kind of like has a bit of a difficult, like not difficult because she loves them, but like a bit of a strange relationship with her family, especially her little sister. And now that she's back in New York, she and her sister like go out to like have lunch to kind of try and rectify things, and that's when she bumps into one of these women that she was scheming with back in college, and they kind of get talking, and this woman starts talking about like what she did in college, and when they leave, her sister goes like, oh my god, that's perfect, you have to do that for me. And Vanessa's like, no, because she doesn't do that anymore, so it's like a silly thing she did in college. But then her sister explains that she has a crush on her best friend's brother, and that's Jason, our main character, and he is like very pessimistic about love and has never really like seen her as a romantic interest. So she's like, if you like do this scheme on him, it might finally like open up his heart a little for me. And Vanessa is very reluctant about it because she doesn't really like the manipulating of emotions anymore, because you know she's not a kid in college anymore, so she has morals now. But she's also so desperate to get back in kind of close relations to her sister and not strain that relationship even further that she is like, fuck it, fine, and she does it. And then like I said, we also follow Jason because it's dual POV, and we don't know exactly what, but we do know he has had an ex who really fucked him over, and therefore he just is like very not anti-love, but like very much just has a really hard time trusting people, let's say, and therefore a hard time getting a relationship. As his sister is getting married, the pressure from his mom to like find someone as well is really getting to him, and like he's really not interested in a serious relationship. And that's when he meets Vanessa, and he like can't help but be attracted to her and like her. And that's kind of all there is to it so far in this book, because I'm only part of the way through, and they kind of just started like they've just agreed to go on a date, you know what I mean? So like we've gotten very far in. I'm enjoying this. I'm not loving it. I feel like Jason is just like a tad bit of an asshole, and I am not like the biggest fan of him, but he's also like not beyond redemption, if that makes sense. So we'll see how that goes. I really love Vanessa. I feel like she's such kind of like an headstrong character, and I really love kind of how sassy she is, how she takes like no bullshit. I love that. I also just I've laughed a lot following this book. It's very funny, and I do have to admit that the scenes between Vanessa and Jason are cute. I get it. So there's that. But the only thing I keep kind of feeling dreadful about is that the sister has a crush on him, because that there's no way this is going to turn out well. You know what I mean? So I feel like it's going to get very messy, and I don't know if I want that, especially because I do really like Vanessa's relationship with her family and how she's working towards that. I think that's really well written so far. So we'll see. Okay, I do feel like I need to give you another plot update because I'm halfway through right now. But shortly after I talked to you, Jason did learn about Vanessa and her sister's plan, and he's playing along with it. One, because he'll kind of wants to mess with them as kind of like payback from messing with his head, but also because, as I said earlier, his mother is very much in the matchmaking business and he's not interested in that. So he thinks that as long as he's dating Vanessa, his mom like can't say anything about it. And I'm gonna tell you right now, it's getting messy. Like, it's so much fun because the anxiety that I had earlier is not attached anymore, but it's getting so fucking messy. In a way, it kind of reminds me of How to Lose a Guy in 10 Dates. Is that what that movie's called? Giving vibes of that, with the way they're kind of like messing with each other. I haven't seen a movie in so long. I really should. I like that one. But yeah, I'm still having a good time with this book. And will say I'm having a bit more of a good time because, like I said, I did have like, there were a lot of scenes that were stressing me out because he would be talking about how he hates when people have like other motives and stuff like that, and I was like, and then of course like the whole concept of her falling for someone that her sister has a crush on, I don't know, it was stressing me out. And I feel like now that he's clued into things and he's like messing around as well, I feel like it's giving me less stress and it's really more fun. So there we go. The only thing that's annoying now is that I don't feel like there isn't like that much romance progression anymore because they're like both faking, let's say. So I don't know, but I'm having a good time and it's reading so quickly. I'm flying through it. I was gonna like do something else today, but I think I'm just gonna read this book. Hi, so this is actually kind of like two updates in one because things didn't go the way I planned. But last night I did finish the starter X and I gave it 4 stars. I had such a good time with this book. I flew through it, as you could tell by the footage. Like I read it in one day. I had such a good time with it. And my complaints with them kind of knowing about each other and therefore the romance wasn't seeping as much definitely quite literally got solved the moment I started reading again after the update. And I don't know, I just had so much fun with it, and I really liked that even though they were both kind of fucking with each other in a way, there still were so many kind of like real vulnerable moments, and like to the reader that was always like very clear when they were being real with each other, and I really liked that. And I just think they both had their issues, and I really liked how this book kind of focused on them kind of having to face that first before being able to get together and stuff like that. And I don't know, I really liked it. I was expecting it to be much more messy and like stress inducing than it was. I'm very glad that wasn't the case, and I thought it was a really fun read, and that's kind of all I have left to say about it. But then comes the other update, because I did also start Anderson in Bloom by Jennifer Dugan. And I hate to tell you this, but I'm 20% of the way through and I DNF'd this. I truly hate to say that because I was so excited for this book. If you don't know, this book is a second chance romance following Andy, who used to be a child star, but she like very much like kind of a lot of things happened that kind of gave her like a massive ick from that whole scene. So she like ran away, cut everything off, and moved to a small town and started working in a flower shop because that's the thing she's passionate about, flowers. Now it's 5 years later and things are kind of coming back to haunt her as her co-star from back in the day, from like her most popular show, and also her ex-girlfriend is writing a memoir about her life, including obviously also stuff that went down with Andy. That kind of drags things back into the open, I guess. And this sounded right up my alley. If you know me, you know I love a second chance. You know I love like a book centering kind of like famous characters, like talking about fame, especially from like a child star perspective. I thought it would be fun, but this book is everything except fun. I am only 20% of the way through, and this book already wants to make me pull my hair out because it's so frustrating. Andy is such an unlikable main character. I really disliked her because we're supposed to believe that she is happy and thriving in her life now, and she doesn't want to think about the past anymore, and that's why she hates that her ex is now writing a memoir. But all we've gotten so far in this book is Andy in her inner monologue talking about her past life. Like, she's obsessed, like to the point where she's cyber stalking her old friends. Like, that's how she finds out her ex is writing a memoir, is because she's cyber stalking her, and I'm supposed to believe that she's better off now. I and also just kind of, I know from what we've like gotten, it's not like we've gotten the full story of their breakup, but from like what the little bits we got from their relationship that she talked about and then her monologue, it's like, girl, you're in the one. Like, you're very toxic, selfish, jealousy letting take over things that should not matter because this isn't about you, but you think it is. I don't know, I wasn't a fan. And then I always do when I'm debating if I should DNF something or not, is I read negative reviews to kind of see their people who finished the book, what they thought of it, and seeing if like the issues I currently have with it get worse or like what. And sometimes I also read some positive ones, but this time I really focus on the negative. But from what I've seen, it only gets more toxic after this. No thank you. Okay, so I'm already a quarter of the way through our final book for this video, which is Toe to Toe by Falon Ballard. Liz is an author I always just pick up their new releases from, but I looked back at my ratings and they have been hit or miss, so I can't say it's like a fully love author, but like the ones that hit. And this one I'm quite excited for because it follows, I already forgot the female lead's name. So it has me follow Allegra, who is a ballet dancer, and like kind of her main goal is to be the like lead role, I guess the principal role, that's what it's called, in company's like upcoming piece. The only thing is that the role kind of requires sex appeal, and according to the director of a company, she doesn't have that. She thinks it's bullshit, but like anyway, she desperately wants this role, so she will just determine to do anything to get it. And that's when she goes to an all-male review show, that's what they call it, for her sister's bachelorette, and she looks at the guys on stage and like, that's what I need. That's the sex appeal I'm missing in my dancing. So she kind of crazily, after the show, approaches the like head dancer, I guess, backstage, and builds out a plan. It's like, hey, give me lessons to get the sex appeal I need for the role that I want. And he's like, sure, on one like condition, and that's that I've been wanting to do like a partner dance as a part of the review, like get a woman in here, and I need to plan that out. Will you help me with that? So that's the setup for the book. One issue is that they are very obviously very attracted to each other right from the jump, and yeah, I'm having a lot of fun with it so far. I am truly flying through it. Like, not a whole lot of time has passed since I last talked to you, and I'm flying through this so far. I really like both of our main characters. I feel like Allegra, I really just like a character who's like very passionate about something, and it's like very clear from her POV, like ballet is her entire life and she's like very passionate about it, and I really liked it. And I'm also really liking how already this whole thing is kind of like getting her out of her comfort zone a little bit, and I really am enjoying that as well. And then Cole, we also follow her POV. He's very interesting because it's very clear that he has some history with ballet, but what is not clear at all. He seems to have a very deep knowledge of how ballet dancers tick, let's say. So I'm very curious to see what's going on there. And then I do think their like sexual chemistry, like sexual attraction to each other, their chemistry with each other is great, and I'm very excited to see the relationship develop more throughout the book. So yeah, I'm having a good time. This is how things should be. So I am halfway through Toe to Toe, and I'm again really liking it. It reminds me a lot of like those dance movies from the like early 2000s, I think. I grew up on them, so must be. But I love dance movies as a kid, and it reminds me a lot of that, just kind of like the different assignments I guess they're doing, except of course more grown up and like sexy. And I don't know, I really like that element to it. Also just, I'm still like having fun reading it, I'm still flying through it. I really love kind of seeing Allegra grow confidence throughout these different things, and it's not necessarily coming from him, despite him encouraging her to do these things, that it makes sense. Like, she truly like finds confidence within herself and I just really like that element to it. I do have to say that my main issue with this so far is that I feel like the characters feel very flat. I feel like they don't really have that much going on. That makes sense. Like, I don't know that much about them, and therefore I also just like don't feel as invested in the romance as much as I do think they have their moments. I find it hard to be invested in the romance when I don't care. Like, I don't care as in we're not the right word for it. When I don't know the two people in it, I find it hard to care for their romance, if that makes sense. So that's kind of like a tiny complaint, but like overall I'm still having a good time and I'm excited to continue reading, so I'm gonna do that. Okay, so I have finished Toe to Toe by Falon Ballard. I was gonna update you 75% of the way through, but then I felt like I didn't really have that much to say, and now I kind of regret it because the last 25% of this book was something, and not in a positive light. So let me just recap my thoughts with you. But I think I already talked about how I felt a lack of investment in the romance because of the characters just being extremely underdeveloped. That definitely was still the case with the 75% mark, but I thought it was fine. I was having a good enough time with it, and truly around the 75% mark I was like, okay, we can wrap things up now. Like, why do we have like another quarter of the book left? Like, that's so much for how little story there still is. So I was a bit confused, but I feel like if things wrapped up there, like, it would be a 3-star, would have been fine, and I would still recommend it. It's just not like great, you know. But then the last 25% wasn't great, because turns out what the author wanted to do in the last quarter of the book is just give me a billion reasons as to why these two people shouldn't be together. Like, they're so incompatible, and that conflict after conflict that just showed me like, yeah, you shouldn't be together. And then it just got very frustrating with the book trying to gaslight me that they should be together, and actually this is something you can get over. And I got mad at this book, so I'm giving it 2 stars. I really hate to say that because I was so excited for this book and I was having such a good time with this at the start. But yeah, this book does a thing where I feel like very clearly one character is in the one, but the book is trying to tell me another character is in the one, and ultimately in the end I think one character had to change everything about themselves for this relationship to work, while the other character did nothing. It's all the exact same person in the exact same place as you were at the start of the book, and that just pisses me off because that's not how relationships should work. I'm not saying you shouldn't change at all for a relationship. I do definitely like that character growth and like realizing that certain decisions have to be made, like compromises have to be made, but like a compromise is not I do whatever I want and you get nothing. That's not a compromise. So that also really pissed me off. And then something I was liking with this book is kind of like the commentary it was giving on the toxicity within the ballet world, but then I feel like in the end it just covered its way out and like didn't fully like make a statement on it, and like the main issue within that part of the storyline got resolved off page, better characters, better main characters. So what was even the point of including that in this book? So yeah, I don't know, it's a 2-star. I don't want to say I didn't like this because there are some Falon Ballards. I feel like Falon Ballard books, at this point I have 3 books by Falon Ballard that I gave 2 stars. I have 2 4-stars and a 5, so it's very all over the place for how I feel about books. So I don't know, but I wanted this to be another win because, like I said at the beginning, this reminded me a lot of kind of like dance movies I grew up with, and therefore I felt like it could have been such a vibe, and it really wasn't, sadly enough. And now I kind of felt like I ended this video on a bummer because I had a 4-star, a DNF, and a 2-star. Like, who wants that? I don't. But anyway, those were the March releases I really wanted to talk about with you. So let's hope in the future it will go better. Yeah, if you read any of these books, let me know in the comments what you thought of it, of course, and then hopefully I'll see you next time. Goodbye. Why does the God thing have to be so complicated? Should've played it cool instead of made it